Welcome to Creative Wandering. Today is all about a faux pine finish being treated with Annie Sloan paints. We are attacking the proverbial classic from IKEA, the Billy bookshelf. Here we have it. The IKEA Billy bookcase. I think this one's been around in our house since we bought this, maybe 15 years ago. So it's time for something fresh and something new. Needle nose pliers, must have. Stick knife, another important tool. I've decided to take out the back panel, and on these older versions there's a bunch of nails with a very small head on them, and they just pop out so easily. Doesn't really matter that I'm dragging it across the floor. There's a big huge sticker on that one side that I'm going to have to deal with, and this floor is all kind of faux IKEA floor as well, and there's really not much you can do to damage it. Alright, let's look inside my magical Rubbermaid for all the goodies that are my Annie Sloan paint supplies. First thing is a big tarp. Drop cloth. A lot of need for heavy duty paper towel. I have a few swatches that I did when I took the class. Super important is the cleanup soap, special kind of soap. Bunch of different paint trays. Whole bunch of different paint brushes and stir sticks. Sandpaper, all different kinds. Sanding brush. Different things that you need, just kind of one-off. So I've got my special screwdriver with all the different attachments. Sanding bar if I want to use that. I've got some cloths here that I can use for the wax instead of the paper towel. Tack cloth. Frog tape. My husband put this in here, I've never used it. Brush to get different kinds of effect in the paint, or to buff up the wax probably, although I've never used that either. I am an old white person, so I always use old white for all my projects. Different wax, I've got clear and dark. All right, now I'm gonna set up my work area. Now to give it what they call a little bit of tooth. Something for the paint to stick to. Now have a look, I've already started, although this is a little piece of damage that give it the sanding, and I feel it. I don't really feel that, so I'm not going to see it later, or at least not very much. And you can see that it really does put some lines into the piece, which is totally what I'm looking for. This is not precious furniture anyways, there's plenty of lines here already. So I like to really give it a more even stuff instead of just having the few ones that are there from my kids using it. Now this is just so simple, it's not even funny. This is not fine furniture, so I don't really need to worry about that. But also, it's just so forgiving, because what we're going to do is we're going to put this chalk paint on, and then we're going to come back and give it some wax. We're going to be sanding it. We're going to be working it and making it what we want it to be. A little cloth here that is wet, or damp, sorry. My husband always says that's a good idea, and I usually remember, not always. It is a very good idea. Regular old brush, and really no fancy technique. Just get it on there. This first coat is almost like a primer. Doesn't really matter how it goes on. Even Annie Sloan herself, if you were watching her videos, she would just be slapping it on there any which way. Okay, now for the fun part. So for the back of the shelves, I've decided to use this really dark, I think it's called Aubergine Blue. I didn't have quite enough, I don't think, to put it on full strength, plus it was really thick anyways, and so I'm putting it on watered down, maybe by a half. And again, you know, if it was brand new from the store, it might have been fine, but it was pretty thick. How do you love that color? It's going to be so dark, and then I'm going to do probably some dark stain on it, so in the back of the shelving unit, it's going to look so dramatic. So here you have what she's calling soft wax and clear. Its own brush, and a big brush because you use a lot of that. And then the other wax, which is the dark wax. And I use a small brush for that. Okay, you can see how interesting it looks now. All that sort of texture. And again, it's not real. It's all just created in the paint. And the waxing, the brown wax that I've put on there. 220 grit sandpaper. And because the wax is not 100% dry, which it doesn't matter, it's going to clog up the sandpaper pretty quickly. Okay, that's what it looks like after I've put the wax on. And you can see that's what I started with. So that is just the chalk paint with the two layers, the white and then the custom mix of blue on top. Then this is dark wax, and then you can see here some of the areas where I've gone in and really, with the 220 grit sandpaper, really tried to expose some of those other colors. So you can see a little bit of white coming through. Yeah, it's a really cool effect. What I will also say is that the chalk paint here, no smell at all. Compared to normal household paint, it's got absolutely no smell. The wax, on the other hand, does have an odor. It's got a sort of a chemical petroleum kind of odor to it. So yeah, I'm really happy with the look of it. Now I'm coming at, this is the underside of the shelf. And you can see the color is much lighter. So when I put on the dark stain, it's really, really dark. And what I'm going to show here is that, again, you can kind of work it, and then you can come back with the clear stain to make it a little bit less noticeable. And also how much sanding that you do. Okay, so you can see the effect here of having the brown stain put on. Now I've just kind of wiped it just so there's no excess. It's all fairly even. Then I'm going to come back at it with the 220 grit sandpaper, and you can see how some of the areas will get quite exposed. Here I'm going back right to the white, and depending on how much sanding I do, I'll even get right back to the pine look and get these nice worn areas. On these two shelves I did earlier. You can kind of get a sense of they're very different, and it's got a lot of interesting look to it. And again, that's what it started out like when it was just for paint. I'm going to use my big brush for the clear stain. And I'm just going to put on a uniform coat on the whole piece. And you'll be able to see that it even colors the dark stain and the whatever's left of the sort of the bluey green color. It colors that as well. It gives it a bit more of a rich tone to it. You'll be able to see when I make the pass just over here. So you can see from one side to the next. As you can see, the back panels have got the darker color and a lot of dark wax on them, and they have been buffed up to this nice sort of shine that they get to them when you put the wax on. The shelves, all the interior shelves are done to varying different degrees of dark wax. And the top part of this one's done. And it's finished. I've put this 1 gallon jug here in the original color of the frame, just with the chalk paint, so you can see the difference of adding the wax in the dark color and then the contrasting really dark shade of Obosun blue in the back. Yeah, I just love the way it's turned out.